but they didn't quite get there. Let's dive into the draft here and see who's going to be able to come out on top in game number 3. T1 back on the blue side, a theoretical advantage based on win rates here in the LCK, but other regions would have different things to say about which side is more powerful. And in a game 3, in a fearless scenario, things can get wacky. First ban going to be in Italy, and this is why blue side, I think, is so much stronger, because you still have to ban the must-ban champions.
Yep.
And so less flexibility.
Every game so far this series, and most games so far in the LCK Cup have just been ban Skarner, ban Kalista, or Suffer.
Yep.
So they'll take those two out of the way, and then they have one ban freed up to try and work with. They did actually ban Aurora themselves in game 1, and obviously very aware of the strength of the pick, so could look to do that again.
Well, they can't, because it's fearless.
Oh, sorry, it's fearless, yeah.
Yeah, so thankfully they banned that one themselves.
Nice.
So
Ooh.
Strategic,
Freed
absolutely.
themselves up, yeah.
Indeed. What is the highest priority champion right now, though? That is kind of the question. I'm looking at it, looking down the line, and I'm thinking, like, even Lilia stock is, like, kind of way up, as Corki is going to be taken away. And I guess, like, honestly, kind of makes sense, even though it's 2 and 13. Those 2 wins have come in more recently, and Rumble is certainly a big priority there, as Galio going to come through as well. So there are quite a few champions that certainly are worthy of that high priority tag.
Interesting. They
Galio, big one.
Ban the Galio, given that they banned it on last game on blue side.
Yeah, right.
But also, if you end up picking like the Rumble yourselves, you know, one of the first times we saw Galio recently when he started showing up was played top into Rumble.
Yep.
So they have that flexibility option if you go in that direction yourselves. And
the first pick, Lee Sin, is kind of out there, but Canyon going to do it. You can see, he's like, oh man, I'm gonna have to lock in. I'm gonna have to make sure that these hands are working to perfection. And last time he played this champion, it was a masterclass. It was gorgeous.
I mean, it kind of makes sense with priority on junglers, like going down the list of the ones picked, but it's interesting that Sejuani hasn't had a look in at all this series.
All right, Hui is going to be locked in here. Theoretical somewhat flex, but probably not. Chovy has been very, very good at this champion. Doesn't really feel like a Galio counter necessarily, but as far as what kind of compositions you build around Galio, they're kind of the ones that you want to be playing Hui into.
Yeah, I think what's going to be really important for T1 is getting some dive. That is not dive.
That is paper, man.
Yeah, it does have the reset potential, but I think it's going to be really important that when you're playing something like Hui, you want to get on top of him, and especially when you have a Galio and a Rumble, these champions benefit so much from people being able to set them up. If you had like a Vi here, it'd be fantastic, but it's fearless, so Vi is gone. If you had a Maokai, fantastic, fearless, Maokai is gone. So they need engage in the composition to set up these 2 picks and to get on top of that long-ranged Hui. So we'll see if they're able to pick something up now that can sort of lead to that.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy because you can see what T1 were doing. Picking the Galio.
Yes, that's good.
I think Wukong works very well.
The Wukong, fantastic. The Viego, honestly, terrible.
Yeah.
Because that would be 3 champions that need setup, but the Wukong can do that work themselves. The sad thing is, Rakan would be just unreal with his composition, but it is, again, not available because it was played last game by Duro. So we'll have those other options. And Gen.G are kind of committing to like long-range backline carries.
So they basically need to make sure Oner gets nowhere near them. That is the aim of the game, because unfortunately, when the monkey gets there, the gargoyle gets there as well. And so Ruler and Chovy going to be having a bad time. Feels like a lot of finesse required here for the Gen.G composition thus far. We'll see what they augment it with as far as support and top lane. First, though, bans have to come in. 80 carries, I think, going to be looked at here on the Gen.G side.
I feel like, honestly, supports, if you ban away, like, the engaged supports, you could get so much value here. Like, even removing, like, potentially Rel. Interestingly, T1 doing that themselves. I would have thought T1 maybe ban away, like, the Lulu. I guess they're thinking, you know, Gen.G want to play some engaged themselves and Juro proficient, but I really think T1, the more engaged you get with this composition, the easier the game's going to be.
I think Gen.G also don't care about engage at all.
Yeah, I think you could have just picked Lulu, and, you know, we've seen Gen.G play the Jinx Lulu before, so I would definitely...
I was really expecting that Caitlyn would be pretty high priority when it comes to the bans. Smash really good at the champion and does have a lot of range.
T1, it feels like they're banning the picks I would expect them to play. So potentially looking to go in a different direction. putting a lot of faith into Oner and I guess Faker as well on the Galio to be able to set things up.
The Lulu is really standing out like a sore thumb.
Oh.
Udyr makes me feel no happiness at all.
Guys, this isn't why we wanted Fearless.
Oh,
no, it was a mistake.
God.
Undo.
Oh dear. Well, Zeri going to be locked in. Zeri Lulu, absolutely gorgeous. That feels like they just moved their rook into like the most unseen place, and that's checkmate. It wasn't actually that unseen. It was kind of walked into, and why not just lock the Lulu instead? Melio, a consideration here is Duro thinking about the Thresh.
Yeah, I kind of hate Genji's position.
I liked it until these last two, where it's like they moved to the edge of the cliff and they were teetering, and then they just said, we're going to send it, and launched themselves off.
I will say, if Oner falls behind, this comp from T1 might get a lot harder to play. There's a lot of tools, you know, with the Thresh and the Hui and the Lee Sin that can disengage. So I do feel like by not going to engage support, they lack that to some degree, but the thing they've gained in return is a lot of scaling, a lot of team fight cleanup with the Zeri Lulu. And Genji have Udyr. You know, I just think it's going to be a struggle because when the fights start, the team fight from T1 is just so much better. And Genji, it's not like they have a composition that like rolls early. So I think they're weaker in team fights. I think they don't necessarily hard win lanes. I think Genji, you know, it's not that the draft isn't playable, but I'm favoring T1 right now with what they have quite heavily.
Yep.
But it really comes down to, I think, Oner and Faker, the mid-jungle. If things go wrong there and your front line isn't able to like charge forwards, I think the game becomes infinitely harder.
And we have to remember that this game is very important for both of these teams, but for T1 especially, they can be first place in their group with a victory. There were tiebreakers spoken about before. I had my brain repaired. Tiebreakers are actually impossible now. It is either you're first or you're not. And so let's see whether Genji can make this composition that we don't really enjoy that much work, or whether it's going to be T1 with this Galio Rumble that works out for them. Time to jump into the rift for Game 3. All right. A little bit of a shout out to the current team that he's playing on there with the Samsung Galaxy Thresh, as well as a shout out to the man who's working for the enemy in Mata, who did get that skin in 2014. Very cool stuff there from Duro. A lot of layers to the shout out.
We'll see what Genji's strategy is level 1, pushing in pretty aggressively for vision here. You know, Udyr can do fine in swaps. And if they have some game plan based around that, maybe they can find a way to navigate this, but it looks like it's just establishing vision for now.
Yep. And it looks like that swap is going to come on through. You can see Keria already moving towards the top side. Smash will be following after that recall does come through. And so a fair bit of information, but it looks like the Rumble will be spotted heading down towards that bottom side. And right now, Ruler and Dura, you can see they're hedging a little bit before they move most likely towards the top side, but right now they are moving bot lane. Ward is pinged, but I don't know whether was he actually out of vision? I think he might have been. As Canyon moves on over here, Oner will be able to secure his popcorn chickens. Couple of them taken there from Canyon as level 2 is gained.
Canyon smited and Oner got it. That's so bad.
Yeah.
That's such a bad start.
Oof.
I mean, in fairness, I feel like in this game, you kind of have to go for something a little bit zany, based on my opinions on the draft.
Yeah.
But that couldn't have backfired more for Canyon. He will be behind. Oner's going to get a bit of an advantage at the start. It is lane swap situation. Not very fun playing Udyr into double range champions, but at least you know the dive isn't that strong from like a Zeri, Lulu, even a Wukong as well. It's actually very low dive threat on an Udyr, so I think Keen is kind of okay.
Well, Hook is going to connect max range there, and the playback gets a flash out from Doran.
Yeah,
those Flame Chompers, great position.
It's one of those situations where you're trying to be in range with experience, but if you're in range to be hooked, you're just too far up. That really shouldn't be happening from Doran. Fortunately, Canyon's on the top side and is behind a bit.
Fear, man.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Exceptionally played. As, oh dear, Canyon's woes continue here. As Tempest going to come out there, not able to cripple Keria, as Keen's going to move on over to defend his Lee Sin. He's just going to die. All right, Smite comes down as Keria could be in trouble. Canyon gonna have to flash away as Keria flashes to get the kill. He should be going down for it, but Keen might be sacrificing his life. Ghost not enough, and that's a kill to Smash. Absolute disaster for Gen.G.
I think T1 pretty okay with the situation. You know, Doran burns his flash. He's like, oh no, what if I get dove? Don't worry, Keria is solo killing the enemy jungler. Killing.
And Ruler is going to be able to grab a kill himself. Duro somehow surviving the turret there, very nicely done. Misses a cannon, but I guess the -1s feel a little bit more muted.
Yeah, so just as everything is going right for T1, Gen.G get an answer back. Doran, there's no other way to spin it. You shouldn't be dying in this manner. You're just too far up when you're outside the tower. Keria just finds Canyon. Remember, Canyon's behind because of that invade.
They're even on levels, right? Like,
yeah.
There's no respect here at all.
And Canyon's like, I just need to finish the camp. I just need to finish the camp. I just need to finish the camp. Let me finish the... And he's dead.
Yeah.
Great flash at the end there from Keria to finish off. He does go down, but then he feeds a kill to Smash. And now they're looking for the dive. This is 4 people. This is going to happen.
Yeah, Keen not feeling super good as the extended beam comes on through. It takes a little while there as Keria tanks the turret really nicely. And T1 just execute the Udyr.
Guys, Canyon is getting these Raptors, okay?
He is.
This is his focus in this game. He's getting the Raptors, yeah. But a great roam from Faker there. The power of the Galio, no surprise to see Faker making good use of it, but you push a wave in, find an angle, move there. And what is typically a rough dive, having like Lulu, Zeri, Wukong, becomes so easy with a Galio.
Well, let's have a look at it one more time, checking out this play from Ruler and Duro.
I mean, this is kind of twofold, because on the one hand, credit to Duro, some fantastic hooks, but you just shouldn't even be in range if you're Doran. Like, allowing this to happen, and I know why he's like trying to get in the XP range, but it just backfires so massively. And after the first time he lost his flash, you can't let it happen again.
Yeah.
Here, just a full channel taunt. Keria has aggro, beautifully played, with the shield as well, can tank a few hits.
Well, now we've got Smash and Keria down towards the bottom side, landing against Duro and Ruler. Fair bit of movement speed between the two of these, with the Lulu available. So
kills already on the Zeri. This is not ideal. Not ideal.
Pesky caster minion. It is. I don't know whether Wolf would have certified it just yet. He is at home watching along right now, so he could probably let you know in the chat whether he has certified it.
There's still time. There's still time.
Yep. We'll need the paperwork in the mail if we are going to see as Chovy does have the Spiraling Despair now. And I just want to see what happens here towards this bottom side. It's not doomed just yet, but it's looking real close. As now Chovy does throw out that ultimate button. Justice Punch gets Faker out of there, but he's going to have to go back home. Yeah. Teleport still with half of a cooldown.
Didn't even pop the taunt there for Faker, which has that damage reduction. I think it kind of shows that you can definitely have pressure on Galio. So hard to solo kill him.
Yeah.
So bulky. But Chovy does a good job of forcing him out of lane. Buy some time, and ultimately it's not so much about, hey, I have prio, I can move. It's honestly more so about Galio can't move. And Canyon now looking, does get a grub.
Yeah.
Will force Oner away a bit, but Faker coming back, Chovy lowish on mana. I don't think he can really stick around here. One grub, he's got to take it and be happy.
Yep, bit of a speed up there as well as Canyon. Oh, just gets in there once again. Oner is going to smite it away. That's with Resonating Strike as well, as now Doran's coming down, and Canyon, I don't know whether he's getting out of this one, and by I don't know, I mean he's definitely not getting out of this one. That is a kill going over to Faker with those Winds of War.
You know, considering how clean the last Lee Sin game was from Canyon, this one has been so rough. He used his smite there as well.
Yeah.
Resonating Strike, still gets out smited by Oner, lost that camp early, now 0, 2, and 1.
And the only good news is the fact that they at least get one of those grubs, so at least the feats aren't going to be there to worry about. But already, the amount of kills, that threshold is being crossed for T1, so one of those feats of strength already there.
And you know, I was concerned about if Oner falls behind, when he's the one who needs to be leading the charge, Wukong can feel very underwhelming. He's having a great game. He's in a really good position. And I feel like T1, they're looking fantastic already in this game. 4-2 in the kill score, only about a 700 gold lead, but this is the start you want.
Absolutely. And I don't know, I just don't know what Gen.G's composition, outside of like Jinx gets excited, kills everyone, like that is obviously a thing that you can do, is we're going to see this once again. Oner's smites have been ice cold.
I honestly think just in general, Oner's form has been so fantastic in the LCK Cup. And clean with the smites as well, which is funny, especially considering, seeing Oner on a flank here.
Yeah, Chovy does get a bit of a fear, but doesn't want to get taunted. Canyon blocked there by the Warrior Trickster as Keria getting taken down low, but Smash throws down the ulti. Duro in so much trouble, and Ruler throwing what autos he can, dodging a lot of these burst fights with a flash forward. The barrier, the hook goes wide, and down goes the Jinx. And there's no chance. That's the double. And Smash, oh man, if he wasn't certified before, he is now.
Yeah, I mean, so strong now with those extra 2 kills. 4-0. Zeri and just Gen.G not respecting the level 6 from Zeri. We've had so much Zeri Lulu in the LCK. And one of the big things that's always been true is the level 6 all-in spike is insane. You can see the Zeri Lulu sitting back, not doing much, being pressured. You hit that level 6 and it's a game changer, and Gen.Gs don't respect it. And especially considering you have a Thresh, you can just farm at a distance and have the Thresh play Lantern. But overzealous, overconfident, and they pay for it dearly.
Yeah, we're going to have a look at this one more time, and look at that Lantern placement as well. I mean, Duro hits the hook and they go in, and then Smash is just in melee range, able to get so much value.
Yeah, the level up comes through. Great flash in there from Keria, gets extra damage. Good dodge there from Smash. Dodged both those critical skill shots. He was so low.
And he was out of vision as well, but they swept it at exactly the right time. Keria gives him just the information.
Whew. And, you know, we came out of draft favoring one side. We'll be honest, you know, it looked good, 4T1, but when you got a 4-0 Zeri, there's not a draft in the world that looks bad with a 4-0 Zeri.
And it already looked good.
It already looked good. Smash in a fantastic position to carry this game now. Gen.G fishing for something here. They do have Canyon with kick available. And bear in mind, no flashes for T1.
And he has snuck into this brush. We'll see how sneaky he's been as Oner is going to come on over. It's likely a 3v3.
I think you always have to be very cautious into it.
Oh, there's a kick! There's the kick flash! The box goes down as Smash once again with the ulti. See whether the Gatling gun's enough, and it absolutely is. Shutdown goes to the Jinx. And did Keria actually ult himself because he wasn't quite in time or something like that? Did that just happen? Did I witness that? I don't know.
Didn't quite see, but 613 gold for Ruler there, which just pretty drastically closed the gap. Those are the sort of plays you have to make. Canyon finds an angle. And the thing is, you normally play pretty safe against Thresh in general because he has the Lantern for the extra like setup for the jungler. But Oner was bot side, and so I think T1 had this perceived view of safety, which I get. You're 4-0. You're playing Zeri Lulu, you have your Wukong nearby. So it was just a fantastic angle from Gen.G to slip in and kind of go with that overconfidence. I feel like it's been back and forth with a little bit of overconfidence in these bot lanes that have been...
And Keria had to ult himself because he was trying to stop Canyon from being able to get the combo. Oh, trying to just didn't stop the kick. Yeah, that was why he did it. That's what memory's telling me anyway.
Canyon's still clean with the kicks. Smites haven't been on point, but the kicks still are.
Yep, see whether he can continue to redeem himself, because I think he's going to need a little bit more work done after what had happened in the early game. Some plates being stolen away here by Smash and Keria.
Yeah, they can't really damage Keen, but I mean, at least Keen can stand in front of the tower when Smash Qs and force him to hit him. But yeah, not really making much headway onto him specifically. We got the Yun-Tal from Ruler, which has been buffed in this patch, so a lot of attack speed, a lot of AD, a lot of crit. An item that has all 3, which is not really a thing anymore since they changed them.
Yep, Chovy actually coming towards the top side just to make sure that they defend.
Yeah, and Gen.G getting some plates here, so bringing it back a little bit. We'll see the kick coming out here. And yeah, beautiful waterfall kick. I think he just ulted.
So close to the interruption, actually, I think.
Yeah.
But of course, Flash makes it so hard.
Yeah, it's difficult. The thing is, the extra health for Smash probably wouldn't have made much of a difference, although obviously ideally ult Smash.
No, it's the right call for Keria. He just almost stopped Smash from being kicked out.
Yeah, so fortunate. Do you see a lot of trading of plates here? Doran does have, he doesn't have Equalizer, he used it just before, so this next wave is potentially going to set up a kill, actually. Then they can go for dive if Doran sticks around.
Well, Canyon going to move on down here. Does have that kick back up. That gets the mini stun. That is going to be Flame Chompers, and my goodness, that is a very dead Rumble. Canyon almost dies, but doesn't quite. And so more plates, and actually second turret going to be going on over here as T1. They do manage to get the feats of strength this game. They're not that far ahead in the gold. Gen.G kind of holding onto it as, oh god, okay.
He's well, tank out, but he can if he's playing that safe. I will say, Chovy had a lot of pressure there on Faker. You can see Faker trying to move down, got hit by the ult from Chovy. If Galio was able to get in range and ult, game changer.
Yeah.
So good moves from Chovy there to prevent that from happening. And And also having the wave prior in the first place. But you can see Faker actually like runs down immediately on the minimap and gets stopped. The execution there from Gen G pretty flawless. Not much Doran can do, but the backup didn't come in, and the dive ends up being successful.
Well, the thing that is making me pretty excited about the game state right now is that it just really feels like Smash versus Ruler. It's like the old guard versus the new. Can Ruler do what he's done many years in a row prior to this, which is just hard carry? His Jinx, certainly something that he's been able to do on in the past, but Smash has got Zeri. Like, as far as main characters are concerned, she is the champion, as heal actually going to come out from Keria in response to the hook. Good one there from Duro.
I think my big concern for Gen G, because, you know, Fed Jinx can do great things, and the gold is pretty even between these AD carries. But the problem is, you know, Jinx gets so much benefit from that first initial kill.
Yeah.
And yes, you can have Canyon kick someone in, but it's tricky to lead a fight with that because there's so much to interrupt you. Like you're playing into Wukong, Galio, Lulu. We've seen Canyon get great kicks. You know, we saw that one that was in the Mad movie, but that was ultimately him getting a kick later in the fight. Getting that first initial kill and setting up Ruler, going to be a tough task, I feel.
Doran's taking damage once again. Oner is just better at smiting as the playback is really good. Flash out just to make sure that Smash doesn't get the value. Immediate cleanse. And Heroic Entrance was immediately also interrupted as Keen is able to press E and boop, and that does it. So all of the ultis now on cooldown. Gen G with a slight advantage. Super Mega Death Rocket is going to be there.
But I will say, 2 flashes burn from T1. They're more than happy about that.
Yeah.
I think also great flashes to have. Ideally, you'd get Ruler's Flash, don't get me wrong. He is playing very aggressive there, punishing Smash. Ideally, getting Ruler's Flash is the best thing, but the easiest target to pick is Thresh, being that he's so immobile. And Canyon not having Flash means he's going to have such a hard time finding these kicks. So in terms of value, T1 definitely getting a lot out of that play, but still having to respect Ruler on this Jinx, especially the range advantage. This is the thing is, once T1 closed the distance, that range advantage is for nothing. That's why having the engage I felt was really important. But if you don't have those tools, you know, if Oner's not in a position to get on top of Ruler, he can just sit back and free fire, and so can Chovy.
Yeah. It's really interesting, actually. I really like this sort of dichotomy that we're seeing with the new look T1 with now Smash on the roster, because normally T1 would be the team playing Jinx. They were trying to do this in the Zeri meta that we were stuck in for so long, right? It was the pick Jinx into the Zeri, outrange her, and be that hyper carry with Gumayusi on the lineup. And now Smash, a little bit better at the Zeri side of things, and Ruler is the guy that wants to be playing the Jinx in this matchup. Yeah, kind of interesting how the shoe is on the other foot.
Does remind me a lot of his JDG times, that MSI when he was on Jinx, taking over. We know he can do it. It's just, can he do it against this? Gold lead is still, it's small. It's definitely within range. Feats aren't going to make that much of a difference.
Canyon going in onto Oner. They do manage to get the Cyclone as, Keria could be in trouble. King comes over, yeah, he's just dead. No Wild Growth is going to help him there, and it's actually Chovy that gets the kill. Ruler getting excited, Zap going wide. And Gen G with control of the fight for now. Oh, another hook connecting! Duro, main character in this one. And there's the Spiraling Despair. It's another kill for Smash as the Udyr goes down. And Canyon, I think he'll win the Smite fight on this one, as he's the only one there.
I feel like we've had so long of Thresh just kind of being that Lantern bot. We had the W Max Thresh, which was a big thing for a while. Last time we really saw him in the meta. Duro is making the claim for the Q Max value, getting the hooks consistently. It's what you love to see, but I feel like it just hasn't been a thing for such a long time. It's so difficult to find picks on the back of Thresh because, you know, his Q is such a long wind-up, it's quite telegraphed. He's making it work.
He really is. This is a gorgeous play. I think the last time we saw Thresh be like so incredibly pivotal was Keria. After that Q buff came in and Thresh for like a patch or two was just broken, Keria really showed us that. So we're going to go back into live here as another hook is going to connect. That's another kill for Ruler. And, oh man, Duro, I think he's feeling better.
He's feeling better. He's redeeming himself for that Elise game, which is a little bit rough game 1, but he's just carrying right now, getting so much value.
Whew. That's clean. All right, they're going to now try and take down this outer turret in the mid lane, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to stop them. Let's have a look at this replay once again. Keep your eyes on Duro.
I mean, it's just phenomenal. Does end up messing up the play a little bit at the end, but still finds the kill, gets the flash from Keria.
And it's this next one that you got to look out for.
Doran has just been a hook magnet this game.
And I mean, they were honestly, it was like fish in a barrel, but still really nicely played. And who really, he also had a lantern there for Keen, I want everyone to know. But Keen was a bit dead.
Oh, the
and
trap
Flame Chompers
setting it up.
Yeah. And so we gave Duro a bit of credit as we came out of the replay, but great setup there from Ruler. And playing Galio into Jinx is a bit frustrating given the arm time and the fact that Justice Punch does require you to go backwards for a bit.
Considering how doomed this game was looking.
In the draft?
In the draft, in the first 10 minutes. Gen.G are really bouncing back and making this competitive.
Yeah. And it's so interesting, right? Because the same reasons that we're saying that T1 were in such a phenomenal position, and it's those 5 kills that are on the Zeri, that exact same point is now mirrored on the other side because Ruler, he carries these.
Yep. Chovy also over 1,000 gold up over Faker on this way. They can keep those carries safe. It is a very winnable game for Gen.G. IE picked up already for Ruler.
Oh, Faker could be in a little bit of trouble here as he is snared momentarily, but not gone.
Not the easiest pick target.
Yeah, there's some durability.
But you can see the pressure that Gen.G has over the map. You can see them really setting up the vision around where Atakan is going to spawn on the top side, which is, oh, it's voracious. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's surprising. I was expecting Ruinous. Not to be the case this time. As Ruler going to be able to grab that red buff, gives the other half of it over to Canyon.
And now
so close to it being going over to everyone, but not quite.
I think the thing is, we're looking at Oner on this Wukong. We're looking at like angles he can get into approach, and I think having vision is going to be really important. If you're just running into areas where Gen.G has all the vision, they see you coming, Thresh can do such a good job of disengaging the Wukong.
Yeah, I mean, Flay is probably the thing we're looking out for, but even the box will make Zeri's life difficult as you're just trying to run amok in a team fight. We don't really talk about the box being valuable, but I actually think in that instance it does work.
You ideally want it to be a flank because you don't want Thresh to be able to just lantern them backwards. If Chovy clicks all his buttons, and he has a lot of buttons on this champion in one direction, you're just not going to be able to make your way in. So as T1 have started to fall a bit behind, they need to get a bit creative with how they're approaching fights to favor them. It is a Mountain Soul, that added durability, definitely a lot of value for these hyper carries if they can get it.
And Ruler has kind of hit the point where he's just really happy, right? He's got the IE and the Untiles completed.
Good for him.
And it's likely to be a rapid-fire cannon coming in next. Probably wants to get some armor penetration at some point, but maybe not, given the enemy composition that he's up against. No real true tank to worry about.
Yeah, you definitely want it eventually, but you're not nearly as much of a rush as we're in the last game. Although
and in the last game, he built 3 items that weren't those anyway.
Yeah, he took his time. Oh, Ruler goes for a control ward, but Chompers first. And doesn't die.
Beautiful. You love to see it. Ooh, Duro information over to Oner there as he sweeps him out, but the Flaming Monkey not going to be doing anything just yet. It's Chovy doing what he likes the most, which is clearing out minions, successfully taking cannons. Ruler does the same thing. Jonah Strong and everyone watching from home very happy with the satisfaction level of cannons being taken in the last few seconds.
Gen.G just being very rigorous with this vision, clearing it out, using the Chompers defensively. Having the Thresh there as well makes it so hard, especially since, you know, game 1, they had the Vi, right? T1, you have so much CC, you can layer, you have the Poppy as well. There's not actually that much to hold people on Gen.G in place, that they can't, like, grab a lantern in between.
Yeah.
Like, if Oner ults, you need someone immediately there to CC them after.
No, you need someone immediately there to pile control wards on it.
That also works. But, like, you know, if Galio ults on you, he's not going to come down for a while. Oh, Oner in trouble.
Oh, that Warrior Trickster just paid for itself in gold. As Rift Herald goes down, there's the flash hook! Not going to connect, but Doran had to flash to get out of the way of it. Spiraling Despair now on cooldown, not doing a massive amount of damage as Shelly, I don't think she's going to survive for the charge. Never mind. Going to successfully manage to get a bunch of damage onto that inner turret. Is now Mountain Soul. We haven't even spoken about this, but I feel like Mountain Soul is absurd for both of these teams.
Yeah, really is. A lot of tanks get, well, tanks on the side of Gen.G get a lot of value. With the extra durability, if Gen.G get it and Chovy and Ruler are just that much harder to kill, it's going to be painful. Not
to mention if Faker gets it, and then he has that extra shield, and he's that big front line that they need. As Keen just going to walk in here. He can do that. He is a Udyr. See how he's going to go as Warrior Trickster. Does mean that it's just the clone, as every hook is scary. But Duro hasn't been landing very many of them recently.
Just fishing, you know, seeing what I can find.
Non-committal CC is the aim of the game.
I also think Ruler able to position so aggressively up in the lane, knowing you have the Thresh to back you up. Real game changer here.
And also, like, Ruler was at his peak when he was playing in Tahm Kench Thresh metas, right? And so I feel like he's going back to the old times where he was the true main character. And that is certainly a good sign for Gen G fans. On the other side, T1 keeping it so incredibly close. Like, this is anyone's game right now. Otacon has been up and available for a very long time. And we're going to have him and Baron on the map together. It's going to make things pretty spicy towards that top side, as we can see. Vision always being traded between the two of them.
Trophy's just been throwing so many of that long-range projectile into these brushes and just kind of...
Don't do a Canyon. Oh, he gets the smite!
Redemption.
All right. Post 20 minutes, that's when the smites are going to start landing.
That's when they matter anyway.
Honestly, it is.
Early game smites, who cares, you know? Oh, you got my Raptors? I'm taking your Baron.
Uh-huh. Well, Chovy also able to collect that blue buff as well. That feels pretty nice. And Ruler. Now with... It was actually Runan's Hurricane that he picked up as well, so we're going to be doing a whole bunch more AoE. Thought it might be going towards the Rapid Fire just for a little bit more safe poke damage.
I think the thing with the Rapid Fire is you already have so much range with the T1 composition. And if you think of how T1 are going to be approaching, everyone is kind of short ranged and kind of going to be running at you, so...
You probably get a bit of value.
Good amount of value there, yeah. Same items across both AD carries. You know, Smash is a tiny, tiny advantage from the feature strength boots.
Yep.
And that's all we're really looking at. But damage galore for both of these. And especially when you compare, like, you know, Faker's just recalled and only got his second item. Oner's work on his second item. Like, these AD carries are all monster fed. And, you know, we normally see that in pro play where you funnel resources to them. But even with that in context, like, Ruler has 40 more CS than Chovy. Yeah. By the way. Chovy's on 10 CS per minute. Chovy is Chovying. Ruler is just...
Ruler is rulering.
He is rulering. That's top of the kills he has as well.
There are a lot of objectives here in this top side of the map. I feel like this is where the game is going to be changed. As Canyon dancing around the river. And Keen going to get melted here momentarily as Gen G have started this one up. Oh, I'm nervous. I'm anxious. But let's see what T1's going to be able to do about it. Faker, heroic entrance up and available as they back away from the Otacon. And just look to lock this one down. Cyclone not getting the most value ever as they dive on top of Ruler, smashing that backline. Ruler survives for a while. Smash as well is just diving on top of Chovy. Takes down both of the carries. And Keen gets one, but it is all over for this fight. T1 matters into their own hands, and Smash comes in clutch.
Oner does his job perfectly. We need to engage, we need to get on the back line. He finds an angle, and Smash is there for the follow-up. Using Zeri perfectly, both carries go down, team fights over, and in a blink of an eye, Gen G crumbles. Oner just, it's a good flash from Ruler. He avoids the initial CC, but Juro's on top of him. The Lantern has little value. And Smash is there to follow up. Keria sends him with the wild growth, says, go with my blessings.
Oh, yeah.
And he does.
Oh, man. T1 finding exactly the window they're looking for. And I actually didn't think that the Cyclone was going to be what they required, right? You saw that flash come out as Ruler avoids a lot of the CC, but Smash knew exactly who he needed to kill. And he's like, this is good, keep going. Takes down both of the damage dealers, and then the fight is just over.
No, interestingly enough, even though the initial ult... That's a reaction.
You can see the stress relief there for Coma.
Even though the initial knockup didn't hit Ruler, Oner's initial ult CC Duron Canyon, and those are the ones there to disengage him, and it meant he got that follow-up. But I just love the confidence. You know, I said my concern for T1 was, you know, are you going to regret not having engaged support? Is Oner going to be enough? The answer is yes. He absolutely is.
And you pseudo do have an engaged support, I guess, as Canyon was fishing for an opportunity there as another Cyclone comes down. Remember, Otacon buff means that they're just going to be sent home. Not too much more to worry about. Oh my goodness, they're kind of in the blender though, as one of them does go home. I'm pretty sure, no, never mind. No Otacon buffs actually going off, and that is just a kill onto Keen.
The redemption value oh, he's looking.
Yeah, Faker manages to get the Justice Punch onto Chovy, who takes the Lantern to get himself to relative safety. Zap connects on to Smash, as Canyon has to flash to get out of this equalizer that is shredding them. Doran just wanting to put them in the barbecue, and they're diving underneath the inner. They're all going to be taking a swift trip home, but it's a double for the Zeri. And so it's already kind of doomed. They managed to get Ruler as well. And that is precisely what they were looking for.
Yeah, now they got time on the map. Long spawn timers for Canyon and Ruler. They've got the Mountain Dragon to pick up. They have options.
All right, Faker just, I think, wanted to get a bit of value here, but let's have a look at this replay one more time.
Yeah, so Canyon goes in, doesn't immediately get out again. It's some good CC in return, and Chovy does so much damage, but the redemption value here, actually massive for T1. They would have lost Oner and Keria, I think, if they come through, maybe even Smash as well. But here, this was so close to be even worse, because we get this initial play coming in, but look at Doran. So Doran ends up ulting, and look, he's about to flash, Feared. So tragic. He was going to melt both Chovy and Canyon there, and it still goes well, but that fear from Chovy, I think it could have been game over if that fear had not come through.
I feel like that, that managed to get like a couple of, 200 gold pickups, as they do send a few of the T1 members home. Still not great news for
don't get me wrong,
but it's a bit there.
The game is not in a great spot for Gen G, but I think they actually would have ended if that fear had not stopped Doran from just toasting them all. Doran hasn't had the best game. It's been a bit rough. Got put behind, but his equalizer in the last the fight we just saw and the fight around Arakan had a lot of value. So really coming back strong. And now, we saw these 80 carries at item parity for such a long time. There's now a 3,000 gold lead for Smash. He's got a Bloodthirster completed where Ruler only has components, and he has a QSS on top of that.
That's pretty ridiculous. Ruler now wanting to complete said Bloodthirster, but he's still a ways away from that one.
It's absurd when you look at everyone else, and like, people have like 3 items at best. Everyone else, and he's on 4 pushing 5.
And he's got all of the money on the Rift. As we can see here, 5,000 ahead of the nearest on his team. And that's exactly where you want that money to be if you are a T1 fan. Gen G still trying to hold on as best they can, but I just feel like the Udyr is kind of past his use-by date as far as being that frontline. He kind of melts if Smash even pays any attention to it. And there's the equalizer just to bully them away from this inner turret. Hook connects onto Faker, but Faker able to tank for quite some time. With that movement speed as well, the fear even gets him out of dodge. Oh dear. Still, Gen G hold on to their inner turret for the moment, as this Warrior Trickster not going to be anything they're going to be too worried about. And next thing to be up and available is looking like the Baron in 2 minutes' time. And so can Gen G get their ducks in a row? That's the question. Oner goes in, Oner goes out. And they're able to just have a look as another hook going to connect. That is one of the longest I've seen in quite some time. Doran not opting to go in. Canyon was thinking about kicking back Faker into the team, but we know that he is relatively tanky here as Smash, like we were talking about, if he does get some free time with Keen, will do some pretty legitimate damage to him.
It's crazy just the ebbs and flows we've seen in this game. We had so long where Gen G just had complete pressure, T1 were always hesitant to approach one big fight, and now it's just complete reverse where Gen G are just kind of fishing for options. I will say, at least T1 is still whiles away from the Soul, so that's not a concern right now.
Yep.
But the problem I have with Gen G's composition is Gen G want T1 to come into them and then play defensively, peel back, Ruler gets space, Ruler does damage, gets the resets. But when T1 are the ones who control the space, Gen G have to push forwards and enter. When this Baron starts, Gen G have to approach, and it can make it really dangerous if T1 have vision because you're scared of Wukong flanks, you're scared of Galio flanks, Rumble flanks, Zeri flanks, you know? Yeah. So it makes it very difficult. So I think T1, no time pressure on them. They just need to establish vision around the Baron and force Gen G to come into them. But they're going for a cheeky play here. Gen G won't expect them to be on this side of the map. They don't find Keen, though. And in fairness, you know, they were looking for a cheeky pick, but this now means Gen G's actually done a good job of pushing the vision back a little bit. You can see this line they're kind of forming around their red buff. They're still hesitant about pushing deeper, but T1 basically just don't have vision on that side of the map.
And Chovy is 3 items in, but you can see on this way just trying to clear out waves around this map. And it is feeling like things are kind of evening out, but I'm just so worried, right? I feel like the team fight that T1 managed to find around that Arakan that was so incredibly game-defining, it feels like there's not enough tools for Gen G to stop that from happening again. Yeah. Unless Duro finds an exceptional play out of like some dance through a wall that Smash is able to accomplish. But that is so difficult to replicate.
It's like you're hoping for like a miracle kick from Canyon, but you land the Sonic Wave and Faker just stands on top of Keria, and there's just nothing you can do. They find a hook on Oner. Oner can disengage, just lose some health, but he's a jungle, he'll just sustain it back up. It feels very hard to find the angle.
Yeah, it feels like Gen.G needs to start the fight with an advantage. They need to use their range advantage to poke down T1 a little bit.
It's kind of like they want to walk up.
Oh, I knew he was coming as Oner gets in there with the Cyclone right on top of Chovy as he takes the Lantern out. Keen tanking exactly like he wants to as he dives into the backline. Smash trying to replicate the play once again, and Chovy is so close to dead. Ruler is surviving this time, but Smash is getting underneath the enemy turret. They've used a bunch of cooldowns, and somehow Keen is still alive as he's running really quickly around this one. But it looks like T1 should be able to get back towards this dragon as it is spawning to try and lock that one down.
Gen.G pretty happy with that though. A lot of tools in from T1, all summoners from T1's bot lane. They survive. This is kind of what they wanted. They push up, T1 trying to engage, they managed to mitigate it, and now you're lacking those engage tools that you need. So Gen.G finally back a little bit in the driver's seat. They're going to start at the Baron. They want to make something happen.
Well, they do have some tools. Smash without the ultimate for now, as Chovy does have that health bar back, but taking damage from Baron can be dangerous here, as Canyon as well struggling to tank it effectively. Duro finds his way back in. Speaking of in, Oner gets on forward. Lantern Ride going to be taken out there from Canyon, who is now looking a bit worse for wear. And the Baron loses interest in the fight.
It's fine for T1, just buy time. Wait for those tools to be available again. Cyclone's coming up soon, the Zerial's coming up soon. You're not forced to fight then, and Oner did a great job of just forcing them away, not committing too much. It's an excellent decision, and now Smash can just go solo this Mountain Dragon. Looked a little bit shaky for a second, but they regain form pretty quickly.
Yep. Ruler going to be picking up the wave in mid, and then moving back towards the fray. As, yeah, Smash securing Soul Point here for T1. Really starts putting pressure on Gen.G as well, but I don't know. I feel like the game-deciding fight will happen before the next 5 minutes. It feels like it's due, you know? And you're the man who knows about things being due. As the Humble Life Esports win in the LCK Summer Finals last year would dictate to us. So do you feel like it's due? Like, when's the game-deciding fight, in your opinion? Like, when's it going to be? Prediction.
I feel like it's coming soon. If it's not around this Baron soon, it's going to be when that dragon spawns, because Gen.G are not going to let them get soul, and they'll have to commit heavily enough that it's going to be a big fight. So I think at the latest, it's in 4 minutes.
Oh, man. That's so many people looking at this young player. Smash, so many eyes glued to him. Also, a lot looking at Ruler as well, as Oner, he's the one you really should be looking at, because he'll be starting any fight that T1's going to win. Flame Chomper's going down, like, yeah, and everything is used. Like, they're focusing so hard on this Wukong to make sure that he doesn't ruin their day.
Yeah, so cautious about it. I mean, that's one thing, is they know he is going to be the one diving in, so they can kind of just respect him and they're fine, but he's just playing with reckless abandon, and it's working.
Yeah, although I thought it was Smash who did the reckless abandonment.
Yeah, he did, but it was his choice. He wanted to go back to Europe, okay?
Ah, yeah, fair. All right. Ooh, they're closing in. Doran, ooh, potentially out of position.
Oh, Chovy! He's got a flash!
Yeah, Oner is going to get on top of him. The Lantern, not even necessary, though, as the Flame Chompers were enough.
Well, the fear value is so big. Chovy's been so crisp with those.
I mean, I'm struggling to breathe enough in these moments. Baron's still there, still going to be this key objective. And even though it's 5,000 gold, it just feels like it's dead even.
Yeah. And remember, T1 fighting for first in their group if they can win this final game. That's what they need.
Yeah.
There are stakes here. But also just T1 taking down Gen.G, always something they're looking to do.
Well, only going to go in once again, but out. Not going to overly commit. Remember, does have the GA as well. It's a lot of lives.
It's getting to that point of the game where the carries are like full build.
Look at Ruler's opinion as well in comparison to Smash's. Smash's like, I just need to be alive and do damage. Builds a GA. And Ruler's like,
I need more
damage. I'm killing all of them.
Yeah.
And we're doing it quickly.
I think it's a thing where, like, when everyone else... I mean, you look at Doran. Doran has 2 items and some bonus stuff. And
are we waiting for Lord Doms? Is it coming?
Should be coming soon. But, like, if you get caught and hit, like, by a couple of autos by either of these 80 carries...
Oh, there it is.
It is brutal. And now with this LDR, Oner, you know, he needs the disruption to get value. He's not going to be that tanky against the damage from this Jinx. Even things like the Galio are going to feel squishy. Oh, double Zhonya's actually just picked up for T1. So they have the stasis on those frontliners. They have the GA on, you know, both the Wukong and their 80 carry.
I'm so worried for Gen.G. I just feel like Ruler is way too squishy, and there are so many resets and extra lives for T1
and also
that there are too many threats to look out for.
The Rabadon's not quite finished for Chovy, and the fact we have, it's like, if you look at the goal difference, it's not that big, but it's about like the difference between having those extra Zonyas, those GAs, all these extra things. Like the GA in particular on Oner is the advantage they have over Canyon.
Yeah.
And it just makes it so much harder. You can see T1 playing aggressive, knowing this Dragon's in a minute 30.
Yeah, as Kane doing the walk relatively quickly maneuver.
It's a good strategy.
Yeah,
but not sure up the land here. And now T1 are just complete control. They just keep running around and chasing down members of Gen.G who dare to step too far forwards.
And there's no more vision left.
Yeah.
Especially here on this bottom side, which is the problem, right? Like, in a minute's time, T1 can get a permanent buff. And Gen.G, I don't think they can afford to give that one up, because already I feel like T1 are stacking the deck in their favor with the utility items that they've been able to purchase. Whew. Okay, still not over till it's over. And Canyon hitting level 16 now. We've almost got a death cap done for Chovy. He'll be doing some big old damage.
It's so rough because you do not want to give over Soul, but you also don't want to fight when Chovy's so close to Rabadon's. You would love to be able to just buy a bit of time. In an ideal world, there's some scenario where Canyon gets a Smite steal and gets a Lantern out. That's like perfect for Gen.G, but it's wishful thinking.
Yeah.
T1 are not going to let them get away with that. They're going to force a fight around this objective, and Gen.G are trying to find a way in right now.
Oner is just trading Warrior Trickster for lots of buttons over and over again. This Wukong is so dangerous. As Chovy off to the side here, he's going to miss the fear onto Smash. And now Canyon has to kick him back, and there's the equalizer. Ruler now has to flash away as well as Oner is dashing forward. The extendo being so much damage onto Ruler, and he is out of the fight. The redemption helping the front line of Gen.G here. But 48 seconds until Chovy's back.
I feel like Smash is just ruthless. If he senses even a slight misposition, he is the player who will hunt for it, commit his flash to make it happen. He's bringing that challenge's aggression to the LCK, and he even catches Chovy off guard. Now, Doran looking.
Yeah, Canyon, he's going to have to flash away from that one. The flash taunt from Faker as Ruler is dead once again. And T1, they weren't going to wait for it. Keen is now a beautiful little snowman, but he's also heading to the death chamber. More kills piled onto Smash as T1 will march up the mid lane, and the game, ladies and gentlemen, is done.
It's been a close series, so hard fought, but T1 as a unit, you know, we questioned how will they look with Doran. We saw Smash come in, who's looked fantastic, but as a team, as a unit, they're just making
the equalizer once again is doing beautiful things here as the spiraling despair is more what Chovy is feeling and not what T1 are feeling as they take down the Nexus and they secure